Today marks International Day Against Violence and Bullying at School. And in a study that has yet to be published, about 1 in 4 upper primary school students says he or she has experienced bullying. The study is led by a researcher from the National Institute of Education. The results are backing earlier studies over the past 2 decades. To tell us more about this issue, we're joined by CNA's Aslam Shah. Now, Aslam, you yourself, this has become your area of interest and research at our workplace. What got your interest going as far as this particular topic is concerned?
So the study you talked about was one of the findings while researching on this topic. Now, what really got me interested was I saw quite a number of viral videos of bullying on social media, and this really upset me, seeing children getting beaten up. Now, as a parent myself, of a 1-year-old, I'm worried about, the type of environment my child will grow up into. And these videos has also upset many parents, and that has triggered discussions online about what more can be done to address bullying in Singapore. So throughout this research of mine, I spoke to lawyers, children welfare groups, teachers, parents, victims as well. And, after the research is done, and just when I thought the dust has settled, I just saw this Facebook post just days ago where a parent who alleged that, the child was being bullied and the bullying happened for no reason. And so the parent was really upset about the bullying case of that the child experienced. So, I've tried to reach out to this parent. I reached out to the education ministry as well. And literally just a couple of hours ago, I got a reply from the education ministry, and they shared with me the reply from the school where, the bully's parents were offered help, the bullies were counseled, the victim was also counseled, and disciplinary measures were taken. Now, coming back to the study we were talking about, these cases really show that bullying hasn't really gone away. It's kind of stayed, it hasn't really gone down as well. But because of technology, the way bullying is being reported, the way bullying is even done, is different than from the time that I was in school, maybe about 20 years ago, not too long ago, actually. The lawyers and children welfare groups that I spoke with, they mostly agree. Technology is quite a bane here. And in fact, they say a lot of bullying cases are being underreported as well. Now, I'd like to remind the viewers at home that images you're about to see may be disturbing, so viewer discretion is advised.
Videos like these have been emerging on social media. A primary school boy pummeled while someone films. A secondary school student sent sprawling as others watched. Police are now investigating these cases. It sparked conversations about bullying and whether enough is being done. But not all cases are filmed. Bibi, not his real name, was allegedly slapped, kicked and pinched regularly by school bullies. Yet, he kept quiet about it. About 3 months later, his parents noticed something was off.
He would stand in front of the mirror and look at the mirror, and then he talked to himself like, I'm so ugly, I want to die. So this really made me so upset.
We see physical bruises on his arms, his hands, his joints, his neck, his back. And we also see some scratch marks. So initially we brush it off thinking that kids playing, but then we realized that there is an abrupt change in his behavior. For instance, he starts to yell and throw tantrum without any known reason.
When I asked him about his experience, Bibi became distressed.
What happened actually?
At the school canteen, right? Then what happened at the school canteen? What happened?
I slapped the boy slapped me.
The school was notified and the culprits were suspended and counselled. Bibi was sent to another class, but the bullying persisted and a police report was filed.
He sometimes would come and tell me, Mommy, I don't have any friend at school. Nobody want to friend me.
Yeah.
So we really feel so helpless. Right.
Bibi's parents sent an appeal letter to the MP to have him move to a new school where he's doing well now. The Singapore Children's Society tells me not all cases are physical. It operates an anti-bully hotline that gets on average 4 calls a week.
What we do hear more of is actually more the covert ones. So in terms of like gossiping, spreading rumors, intentionally excluding somebody from the group chat, or in terms of like social group activities. So all this have a huge impact on children and youth, because at that developmental stage, the sense of belonging, being accepted is so crucial.
Such emotional or relational bullying can happen anywhere, including online. They include non-stop racist remarks, name-calling, or verbal insults. Experts say technology isn't helping. Bullies can stay anonymous online or even use deep fakes. What's more, recent videos of bullying that happen in or outside school could stay online forever. These could encourage others to ostracize or make fun of victims long after physical wounds heal. These unseen forms of bullying are why welfare groups think numbers could be higher. The Education Ministry says less than 1% of students in primary and secondary schools experience bullying.
How do I come out to say that I have been bullied when I have no battle scars? Right? And is it a matter of me being not resilient, or am I really bullied? So even for the victims themselves, they might have been experiencing it for some time that they no longer are able to differentiate whether is it bullying or whether is it lack of resilience on their part. So for they themselves, they are not even able to see it.
They think greater attention must be given to the insidious types of torment because of its long-term impact.
We work with children and youth who are struggling with a mental health condition. So when we look at in terms of the profile of youth that we work with, about 40% of them reported they had bullying experiences.
You have a group of people that constantly tells you that you're so stupid, I do not want to play with you, you are lousy, you're an idiot, and make statements like that. Then all this fits into this individual about who their self-identity is and what their self-identity is.
Well, Aslam, your report there, that child is not his real name, but BB. The school was notified, culprit suspended counsel, but that bullying still persisted. But what are other measures that a school can take when bullying is reported?
So the school has the autonomy to decide the appropriate punishment for the bully. So in the case of BB that was you seen earlier, the bully was separated from BB. There was counselling. There was also a suspension of recess. So these are some of the punishments that can happen. And I also understand that there are schools that has some sort of probation officers where the bully has to report regularly too. But in all of these cases, most of the time, counselling is always done, not just for the victim, but the bully as well. Now, for the victim, it's not just about overcoming trauma. It's also about preventing wrong behaviors, harmful acts, because from the study that we discussed earlier, all of those who claim to be bullies in the study survey, they say that they were also victims of bullying before. So that's something important during counselling. And also for the bully themselves, when they are being counselled, the children welfare groups that I spoke with, they say that, it's important to find out the underlying cause for these bullying behaviours. And most of the time, the causes come from home.
If it goes beyond as you say, the causes are manifold and they can be fairly deep-rooted as well. If schools cannot help, police might actually be involved.
Yeah, so the police can be involved, but from what I understand, most of the cases are settled within the schools themselves, mediated by parents, teachers, even sometimes the HODs or the principal may be involved as well. But, I reached out to the police and they told me that when it comes to cases that are, quote, egregious in nature, there will be thorough investigations, and these investigations include things like statement taking, gathering of evidence, and so on and so forth. So, for such cases, when the police is involved, it could be referred to the Attorney General Chambers for possible prosecution. So I spoke with lawyers, that when it comes to bullying, when kids are involved, an interesting fact as well, the videos you saw earlier, the kids who are also watching these videos, the act of bullying in these videos, they could be liable as well, because under Singapore law, there's this thing called unlawful assembly, and they could be liable for that. So the laws of the land apply to everyone in Singapore, but the type of punishments you can get depends on your age. So I consulted a lawyer to explain a bit more about the different ages of these youths and what they can be liable for. So basically, those who are under 10, they are not liable for any criminal offense, but older than 10, they can be liable for a different path. Let's have a listen.
Up to 14, you can be in boys' home. Above 14, you can be dealt with juvenile court, and juvenile court can consider reformative training center or even probation for that matter. It can last from 6 months to 3 years for a probation, which will be a good outcome for the student because he can still attend school, can sit for exams.
Well, technically, Aslam, above the age of 10, in fact, a bully could be sued by a parent of a bullied child.
Well, when it comes to suing, the answer is basically yes. Parents can sue a bully, even if the bully is a minor. So there's a separation between when police is involved and when the police is not involved. So when it comes to suing, I've heard from lawyers as well that I spoke to while researching on this story. You know, they told me that more are seeking legal advice on what to do when the child is a victim of bullying. So when it comes to suing, they can be sued for damages under the Protection from Harassment Act. So this covers both the physical and also the non-physical cases. So for also things like cyberbullying, for example, you know, these are covered under the Protection from Harassment Act. But you may ask, you know, why even sue? You know, because they won't be incarcerated. Now, one of the benefits of suing, or possible benefits of suing, is that the victims may get a court order, and this can help restrain the culprit from the victim, and they may also get a compensation as well. Now, an alternative to suing is for the victims to file a magistrate's complaint to pursue legal proceedings, criminal proceedings, and this is in the cases where the police choose not to investigate, for example. So there are many ways to deal with cases of bullying. So I really think it's a good idea because every situation is unique with people of different ages involved. So it's really wise, in my opinion, to consult a lawyer for the best course of legal action.
Well, that's it. As you yourself said, why sue? I mean, the legal route may not be the most profitable in these cases. But in principle, say you're suing an 11-year-old bully, you would, in effect, you could be suing his parents for allowing this bullying to take place.
Well, in Singapore, the explanation that I got researching on this topic, you know, is that, you know, in general, in Singapore, parents are not liable for the harmful acts of their child. But when it comes to going to court, parents have to represent their child, whether they are the victim or the bully. So in Singapore, you don't really pay for the crimes of your child unless it can be proven that because of the parents' actions, it caused the child to be a bully. So one legal expert that I spoke with is calling for a legal reform on this matter to make it clear that it's the parents' responsibility for the behavior of the child. Let's have a listen.
Because parents actually have control over their young children during their growing up years. So as I said, this sounds very paternalistic, but the possibility of criminal sanctions on parents could be in limited form, especially when the bullying is very egregious and involves, you know, serious, severe harm on the other party. And in that kind of situation, criminal sanctions on parents may be needed to actually emphasize the importance of parental supervision, especially today in light of online risks.
Some countries already have similar rules. For example, I was told by the legal expert that in China, you know, if a minor is found to exhibit bad behavior or criminal behavior, then their parents may be reprimanded and they may have to go through a family education guidance program.
All right. Legal action is hugely expensive and onerous. And as you've taken the trouble to spell out, there's so many causes of bullying. Those who bully very likely were bullied before. What's MOE doing to, I suppose, as you would say, tackle the root of the problem?
So I reached out to the Education Ministry for this story while I was researching on this story, you know, and they've shared with me that, you know, there's now in place the character and citizenship education lessons. They are now in place, and they've shared with me some materials as well. So students are taught about boundaries, you know, because when you're a young child, sometimes it's difficult to actually know what exactly constitutes bullying. Is it teasing each other? Is that constitute bullying? Rowdy children getting into fights, does that constitute bullying? So they are taught about these boundaries and what not to cross, not just for bullying, but for other delinquent behaviors as well. Now, they also train teachers and peers, on how to deal with bullying cases and, to keep up with the latest trends as well. The Education Ministry also do regular outreach to parents to emphasize the important role that parents play when it comes to anti-bullying approaches. Now, the police also engage the schools to educate primary and secondary school students on various topics related to youth offences, and that includes bullying as well.
Oh, you're preempting my question here. There's one of the ways in which we can approach this problem, but the study we mentioned at the very start, so this NIE researcher, this has yet to be published, but you've had, I take it you've had a sneak peek. What solutions did that particular study propose?
Yes, I had a sneak peek to this study that's yet to be published. It's currently just completed peer reviewing. It's by the National Institute of Education, along with Singapore Children's Society and the National University of Singapore as well. And what they found is that the way the study was conducted is the children were approached and they were surveyed independently or separately from the parents. So the answers are confidential and done in the most anonymous way as possible to get the most honest answers. And what they found, which I found quite startling as well, is that, about a quarter say they have been bullied. And all of those who say that they were bullies say that they were victims of bullies themselves. Now, this number is for those who experienced bullying within the past 2 or 3 months from when they were questioned. But what is very notable, I find, as well, is that you look at the graph there on the right, or the pie chart on the right, that only 5% choose to report to a teacher or a counsellor first when they experience bullying. So although teachers and counsellors may be trained well to address with bullying cases, but they are not seen as a trusted adult from the eyes of the child. At the end of the day, they still prefer to speak to their parents and their friends to confide first when they experience bullying. So I understand from the counsellors and the researchers as well that, ironically, that parents actually do not know how, many parents do not know how to spot the signs of bullying. And just to make it clear, bullying is an aggressive act from one to another to cause harm, and there must be a power difference there. So, for example, someone much bigger size than the other or comes in a group compared to one person. Power can come from different form, but essentially what power does is that it takes away the autonomy from the victim to retaliate or do what it needs to. So let's hear what the principal researcher has to say.
All parents should consider signing themselves up to some form of intervention or even some parent education program just to know what the literature or the research says to help them or give them kind of support to become more available to their children.
Oh, thanks for coming in. In fact, it's a problem. We find one solution and another problem expands. Tech is an example, right, giving us even more problems on this front. CNA's Aslam Shah speaking to us about bullying among youths, that's those aged below 60.